Hi, my name is Kenzie Caputo, and I'm a senior dual degree candidate studying psychology and sociology at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. My thesis project focuses on food insecurity and food recovery in Western Mass, specifically in Hampden County. I was able to work with a Springfield-based food redistribution organization called Rachel's Table to conduct research and volunteer. My experience has allowed me to see firsthand what the quality and quantity of food redistribution looks like in my college community. Before I get into my project, I want to explain what food insecurity is. Food insecurity is the lack of access to and availability of food for people to live healthy lives. Rachel's Table is a program of the Jewish Federation of Western Massachusetts and a partner of the Food Bank of Western Mass, and it has been working to alleviate hunger and food waste in Western Mass since 1992. About 200 volunteers collect food from dozens of local organizations every week and deliver it to 50 local agencies. The purpose of this project is to inform Rachel's Table staff of the responses that I received from participating agencies during my survey in regard to the quality and quantity of food they are receiving. I also want to highlight important insights as an outside researcher and volunteer. I reached out to 8 organizations with the contact information I received from Rachel's Table staff members. I used the same email template and same survey for each agency. The 7 bulleted agencies below were the ones that responded to me, and the one at the bottom of the page, Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center, received an email but did not respond. I just wanted to locate or orient you to where Hampden County in Massachusetts is. It's in this red section on the top map of the page. All of the agencies I contacted for the survey portion of my work were located in the Springfield area of Hampden County, which is squared off in the bottom map. And this is just the zoom in portion of the Springfield area of Hampden County, where you can see all 7 responding agencies and Rachel's Table. I decided to focus on Hampden County because it has the highest rate of food insecurity and child food insecurity in Western Massachusetts. On average, programs of the Food Bank of Western Massachusetts, like Rachel's Table, served 53,000 to 54,000 people per month. During the fiscal year of 2019 to 2020, 6.9 million meals were provided through these organizations. Let's get into the survey responses. I asked the same 16 questions to each responding agency based on the information I collected from information tables provided by Rachel's Table staff members. This slide shows contact information for each agency, the days and times volunteers drop off donations, and the equipment each agency uses to store redistributed food they receive. A lot of smaller details tend to get lost in the daily shuffle of organizing volunteer routes and keeping the organization running. I noted a few changes to contact information and drop-off days that Rachel's Table staff need to change to ensure their website and contact lists stay up to date. This table shows the food that the agencies are receiving, the issues they have with their food, and the food that they would like to receive if they could get more. All agencies receive bakery and bread items from donating organizations. The majority of food donations that I've picked up when volunteering are bread, sandwiches, and bakery items. The documented issues with donated food are that food is crushed and not always presentable when agencies receive them. Some agencies would like to limit the processed food that they are receiving, and most would just like more food in general. If they could get more food, they would like a lot more proteins and meats, produce, and dairy options. This table shows how many people or families per week these agencies are serving. In the first column, you can see the wide range of the number of people being served by these agencies. For example, Christina's House serves 20 people compared to Springfield Rescue Mission, who serves about 1,500 people per week. You can also see the populations that each agency serves and how they distribute the food that is donated to them. There's a wide range in the amount of people, populations, and how they distribute food, even though they're all located in the same area. There's a 94% satisfaction rating among responding agencies. This is a great number, but it must be looked at critically. Did these agencies rate their satisfaction with Rachel's Table high because they truly enjoy their partnership, or did they feel like they needed to rate Rachel's Table high because they are receiving donations from this organization? It's important to note that 5 agencies ranked Rachel's Table as a 10 out of 10, and 2 ranked Rachel's Table as an 8 out of 10. Most agencies were very appreciative of the relationship they have with Rachel's Table. And the agencies who ranked our organization a little bit lower had few comments on the volunteer aspect of Rachel's Table. Based off of these comments, some recommendations that I have for volunteers, as a volunteer myself, working with agencies, is to be aware of the food presentation of the food that you're picking up. Donating organizations might overlook the food presentation and expiration dates of the food they're donating. It's up to volunteers to look through the food they're picking up and delivering to participating agencies and making sure that it is good food, food that they'd want to eat and not expired or moldy or anything like that. Volunteers also must contact the agency when they drop off food and make sure that they call the number provided to ensure that the food that they're dropping off is being packaged right away. Other recommendations that for Rachel's Table when working with agencies are to find ways to streamline dispatch or pair inexperienced volunteers with well-experienced volunteers. Another recommendation is to provide healthy food options in the winter and to continue to partner with more local organizations. Rachel's Table has been doing its best to continue to partner with local organizations, but with 10% of the population in Hampden County being food insecure, people always need more food. So for them to continue to partner with local organizations, it's a big must. Now, to get into my volunteering experience, it's relatively easy to become a volunteer. To become a volunteer, all you need is a valid driver's license. I signed up to volunteer in the fall of 2021, attended a Zoom info session in January, and began to volunteer as soon as I received my information packet in the mail. Contacting staff members is also very easy to do. I received weekly emails from newsletters to important route updates to staff members looking for extra drivers to reminders about my own volunteer shifts. Staff and dispatchers were always available via phone or email to answer many of my questions. I volunteered for Rachel's Table 4 times, and each time it was a little easier and a lot more fun than the last. Volunteers are expected to look over the donations that they are picking up to ensure they are safe to eat, then they drop them off at donations, then they drop off the donations at specified agencies and fill out an online form that tracks the quantity and quality of the food dropped off. The form asks about the items, how much they weighed, the description, where the food was picked up from, and where they dropped it off. Volunteers sign up for routes for 3-hour blocks, but most of the time I ever spent volunteering for one route was about 2 hours. There are many available driving routes in Western Mass, and you can request ones close to your home. These are some pictures that I took of the food that I picked up during one of my volunteer routes. You can see a lot of salads, bakery items, sandwiches, and chicken from this particular pickup, and it filled up my whole trunk, so that was great. Here are some things that I noticed when volunteering. Volunteers transported boxes of food alone to the cars, so a lot of the staff where you're picking food up from didn't necessarily help me transport my food to my car. Not all staff at donor sites knew the donation protocol or where the donated food was being kept. A majority of the volunteers for Rachel's Table were older folks or close to retirement age or retired, so there wasn't a lot of young volunteers. Some donated food that I picked up was expired or moldy or in rough condition. Organizations tend to think that donating food, no matter what condition it is enough, but that's not the case. We really need to make sure that we're donating food that is good food and it's food that people will actually want to eat. So, is rescued food good food? Yes, I like to say it is. And Rachel's Table is doing everything in their power to ensure that the food they're redistributing is safe and good for people to eat. Some bad food might slip through the cracks, but for the most part, organizations who are donating food, like Rachel's Table, only want the best redistributed food to be given to those suffering from food insecurity. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.